So we started talking about all the things that we were excited about, and we were talking about, especially about podcasting and why it was very attractive to us and we wanted to start something.
It's a very, very noisy space to try and cut through. So I think you've got to make sure that you've got other things in your marketing mix and you've got a consistent message. And it's not just one approach that you take, and you've got to do multiple to be able to cut through and people to recognise that brand or recognise what you're trying to achieve.
Welcome to The Glass Ceiling, the podcast where business leaders share their stories, struggles and triumphs.
There is a lot in that. There's a lot of learning.
We sort of had different views on how the business should be ran.
The next 10 years looks like for South Australia.
That part's the easiest.
I'm your host, Marissa Hankinson from Wavebreaker, and I'm passionate about amplifying their voices. Join me as we explore the highs and lows of innovation, entrepreneurship and leadership. From founders to CEOs, our guests will share their insights, experiences and advice on how to succeed and make a lasting impact. Get ready for inspiring conversations and valuable lessons. Let's shatter the glass ceiling, one story at a time.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Look no further than Next Workspace. Located on level 15, 45 Pirie Street, our incredible facilities offer everything you need to thrive, from comfortable workspaces to cutting-edge technology and amenities. Plus, our collaborative community will help you connect with like-minded professionals, share ideas and learn from each other's experiences. With flexible workspaces, meeting rooms and event spaces, you'll have everything you need to grow your business. And with our supportive community, you'll never be far from inspiration, motivation or a helping hand. At Next Workspace, we're more than just an office, we're a community for innovation and creativity. Join us today and watch your business soar. Next Workspace, empowering your success. Visit us at www.nextworkspace.au.
Hello and welcome to this special episode of Wavebreakers. Now, if you've been listening to the season so far, you might be thinking, who is this random person sitting in the hosting chair? That's because we're doing something special today. My name's Jessica Braithwaite. I'm from Channel 9 and I am lucky enough to be the guest host. After asking the questions so far, Marissa, now I'm going to be turning the spotlight onto you. And we've also got Jo in the chair here, the co-founder of Wavebreakers. So I'm just going to be, it's a little bit of role reversal today. I'm going to be asking the questions. I promise there won't be anything too hard. And I'm looking forward to hearing about what you girls have been up to creating this amazing new venture. So let's jump into it. Fill me in, because Marissa, you and I have known each other for a little while. Tell me about Wavebreakers. Where is this idea coming from?
It was very, very organic. I know Johanna from working at Master Builders. She was my events and marketing coordinator. And then she left us a few years ago, but we've still kept in touch. And we reconnected at a networking event recently, and I'd literally just come from catching up with Rory. And it was like, well, you know what, let's catch up tomorrow. And we were just sat having a coffee. I met her dog.
Yeah, that's important.
So it was a great connection because we started talking about all the things that we were excited about, and we were talking about, especially about podcasting and why it was very attractive to us and we wanted to start something. So we started talking about the value of creating a business in podcasting, and that both of us were very keen in sharing and connecting with the community and getting the community like talking about what they were passionate about. So it was very exciting. And while we're doing that conversation and coming up with ideas, we got a call from Rory.
Rory being the amazing producer extraordinaire.
From PodBooth.
Give us a wave, Rory, for those watching online.
So yeah, we were talking about all these great ideas, how we will do podcasting. I know that Marissa spoke with Rory before our conversation and everything. And Rory called us to tell his ideas as well. So it was like, what? Yeah. So it was really, really good. It felt like it meant to happen, and we are here.
So I think with podcasting, from, you know, like Joanna's got a marketing background, I've got a marketing background. I think sometimes podcasting is a way for our clients to really be genuine and get their message across whilst trying to add value to either their audience or clients. So podcast is a medium that I think a lot of people want to do, but they don't know where to start.
Yep.
They don't know what guests to get. They don't know how to market it and things like that. So I think with our experience and also Rory's, we were sort of, there's something here. We weren't quite sure what, and it is evolving, but yeah, we think we can help people get their message out.
And how do you two work together in terms of, do you each bring a different skill set to the table and then that then complements each other, or do you kind of identify, look, I'll handle this area, you're going to handle this area? How does that work?
I think one of my strengths is bringing people together and connecting with people. So I think I can definitely join all the dots and just make things happen. But some of the more practicalities around the marketing and the strategy, I don't have that, which I think is where Johanna's skills come in.
So every time that we think on an idea or a specific thing that we want to work on, I always bring my ideas related to marketing, how we can market that, how we can use that content. And Marissa is like, she sees more in a broader way. And also it's very easy for me to connect with Rory because Rory is almost in the same space, but in the video podcasting area. So I feel that we connect very well in different angles. Like sometimes we complement each other, or sometimes we all agree on the same thing and we just split things to do. Yeah.
And so what are you hoping to achieve with Wavebreakers? What's the vision?
We've got a strategy day tomorrow, so that's a bit screwed. That's a bit screwed because it's been so organic. Let me just have a think about
So I think our vision is to support those business owners to create a brand out there, to create some awareness of what they do through their stories. So we want to help them to create that piece of content that they need to show people what they do, what they're passionate about. Because nowadays marketing is evolving and people are more eager to learn and to learn about stories and to connect.
Yeah.
There is a lot of technology out there, but sometimes people want to feel like what is happening behind the scenes. They want to meet the person. They want to know if I'm going to get involved with this business, who they are. Are they helping me? They really care about who I am as a client. And I feel that this is something that we want to bring into a table for any business. And we offer as well like the marketing service in terms of we help them to develop the video podcast, but also we help them with the whole strategy around sponsors, speakers, how to leverage those videos and podcasts onto the marketing mix as well.
Yeah.
Because you can't just do one thing nowadays. We all know that it's a very, very busy space. People have got a very, very short attention span. And also people are choosing what they want in their life, even if it's, the shows that they're, listening to or the podcast. So it's a very, very noisy space to try and cut through. So I think you've got to make sure that you've got other things in your marketing mix and you've got a consistent message. And it's not just one approach that you're taking. You've got to do multiple to be able to cut through and people to recognize that brand or recognize what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I know, in some ways it's kind of, I can imagine how it would be really helpful for people to have you guys to step in, because it's one thing to come up with the idea for a podcast or to know that you need to do one, but to be able to execute it and have the support, those pillars of support in place is a whole nother thing. And it takes time as well. So,
yeah.
I mean, you've touched on it already, but what are some of the ways that you think you'll be able to help clients and people who are coming, saying, look, I know we need to do this, but I'm not exactly sure how.
Yeah, so I think from our side of it is really understanding why they want to do a podcast, to understand that you can't just do one podcast and it make a difference. There's got to be a consistent approach. And then to work with them about the brand, the distribution channels, who is the audience. I think that's really important that they want to try and break through into. And then what are the platforms and the existing things that they're doing? And how can we build on that with the podcast, not just have a podcast, it be a one-off, because all that's going to do is waste money for that business.
Yeah.
They've got to try and get value and return on investment. And because we've got the experience with social media, with websites, even with media and PR, and even coming down to sponsorships or alignment of your values with maybe a charity or other things, we can add a different level to get that through.
And what about the industry in general, the podcasting industry? Have you thought about how you think Wavebreakers can, pardon the pun, but make some waves in the industry and shake things up a bit?
I think what we're trying to do is, like, obviously, as Marissa said, identify for our clients, help them to identify who are the target audience, but also to try to bring those stories into life, like making our clients to be burnable and share what they are doing, what they're doing. So we have been thinking that it will be a great way for businesses to start like challenging and talking about why they think this is the best way, or the best way they are using to offer their services or things like that. So I feel that we want to give those businesses a space where they can be very transparent and share their stories. And also, if they have opportunity to also interview their own clients, that would be amazing as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's a whole nother level, isn't it?
Yes.
That they're benefiting their clients in that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the idea is that they create a space where they can also connect with their clients and bring those stories to life as well.
Yeah. Because I think it's all right for you to say what you're good at, but to interview a potential client and the difference that you may have made, I think that's more influential to hear rather than your own message. It's actually hearing the other. It's actually hearing the other side.
Yeah.
And I think with Wavebreaker as well, that, and we're really, really fortunate to have a collaborator like PodBooth and Rory, is because Rory's been doing this for 8 years. Is that right, Rory?
Sounds right.
And Rory does get people who come and approach him, and sometimes they do need help, but where do they go for that help outside of just the great work that Rory does? And I think by us wrapping ourselves around that and wrapping ourselves around the client, that we can make a difference.
I mean, I would agree with that on so many levels. Firstly, I love that we have a camera on Rory, so I'm just going to throw you a question, Rory, just for that pure purpose, so our audience can get to know you. Rory, we go way back to the Channel 10 days when you were a camo there. What is it that you think is great about teaming up to create Wavebreakers, and what gaps do you think that you can fill in the market?
I'm going to shout my answer because I'm not mic'd.
Oh, he's not mic'd.
But we have a lot of great shows that know, and businesses that know they need to have a show that it would be great for their business, but sometimes they don't know, once they've created it, how best to use it. And they come to me for advice, and I'm not the expert. I'm an expert in podcast production, but not in marketing. So that's why having someone like Wavebreakers come in that really this is their speciality. Yeah, it really complements what I do.
I get it, and I agree. And I could see even from the piece of paper that for anyone listening, Marissa sent me an email, and she said, "This is the podcast. This is the theme of the podcast. This is what we're going to talk about. Here are some of the questions that we could discuss." And from being someone who's been involved with podcasts from time to time, that's not normally the type of guidance that you would receive. So to have someone to be able to lay it out for you in the way that you did, I can absolutely see how that would be really beneficial for someone who's coming in cold and doesn't really know, how to navigate this space.
Yeah, and there's some areas of, we've developed some packages where people might have a business, they may have their own internal marketing and things like that. So we can come in and do a basic package, and then the internal marketing can support it, right the way up to, you might need a host.
Yeah.
Let's look at the host, let's look at who your case studies are, all the way through to, would you like some media training?
Yeah.
Do you feel confident in talking to a camera?
Yeah.
And we've got all these other bolt-on services, right up with, social media management and scheduling, and where people can do a little bit of a pick and mix as well, because people don't necessarily know what they do need, because as Rory says, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And they're looking for that guidance. And I think it was just, it all sort of aligned. It was good. The universe spoke to us, I think.
Yeah, when we were we had that discussion with Rory about, okay, what are the people asking, what are people needs?
Yes.
And we come out with all of those ideas in a way that we create, as Marissa said, some different packages, and also not only packages but additionals that you can add to the service.
Yeah.
Because everyone is different, all businesses need something different, and I feel that we want to create something that is appealing for any sort of business. So that's something that we are happy to offer, and we are creating to obviously offer a really good value to our clients.
Yeah. I can definitely see the appeal.
Yeah. The reason the glass ceiling came about was we're new in business. And what we wanted to do was look at other successful people who'd been in business before us, just to learn from them of some of the things of why they started their business, some of the challenges they may have had in their business, so that us as a new business ourselves we can learn from that. The glass ceiling is also a way for us to actually showcase what Wavebreaker can actually do. So we've got something very tangible for our clients that they can see this is what we can achieve for them. In my previous role, before I started this business, I'd launched 2 successful podcasts, Building Perspectives and Construct Her. And one of the things that was really interesting about that was the importance of continuing once you do start on a podcast. But also, I was at the time where there was brands and sponsors that was coming to me. This was during COVID. Events were being stopped, etc. So how could they get their message out with good, valuable content without physically being present? Well, you can be physically present because a podcast can be delivered anywhere, and is not related to face or as an event. So that's where I came into it from podcasting, and I knew that glass ceiling would be able to do that. And if I wanted to learn, then I'm sure the audience will want to learn as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about you, Johanna? You've got some stories to tell already about the glass ceiling?
Yeah, so I feel very connected to glass ceiling because I started my own business last year in marketing and branding. So I started to get very excited about learning stories of business creation, obviously for women, how they empower themselves to become leaders and to create such a great things. So I joined Latin American Society of South Australia, LASA. When I started with them, I started supporting the Women in Business project program that they're running. And I felt so fascinated of learning how so many people or women, migrants, they come to Australia to build their own business, and coming with those ideas and all the struggles that they have come up with and all the learnings. So that's why when I spoke with Marissa about this idea of getting women together, talking about their challenges, their successes as well, was a really good thing to do. So it felt like it was connected to me as well, in a way that I have been having the same situation of starting a new business, having that difficulty as well of transitioning from corporate to becoming a business owner, because this is something that is not easy. Like just changing the mindset of you don't have to go 8 hours to an office. You need to manage your time. You need to obviously be organized, have a strategy behind, but it's fascinating how you can do like all the things that you can learn through the experience, the whole experience. So I love it. So amazing. That's why I feel that it's a really good ways for us to show what women in business can do and all the stories behind that, because there are so many women that have their own businesses and have their kids and everything. I don't have kids so far, so I feel that is even a layer on top of the whole thing. So I love it.
Yeah, great.
And it's really interesting to say that season 1, we have focused on women-led businesses. However, season 2 will have a different theme, so it'll be very mixed. So each season we'll be looking at different leadership styles or different themes or even different industries, so that the learning can continue.
Amazing. So it's probably a nice point to finish on. What are you most looking forward to about season 2 and the future for the Glass Ceiling and, of course, Wavebreaker Productions?
So we've got a portfolio of podcasts that are coming up in the future. The Glass Ceiling's only one of those podcasts, which is ours. However, we have got a few more in the pipeline. So we're looking forward to our official launch of the podcast.
Yeah.
That's going to be
very exciting. It's going to be on the 25th of July.
Yeah, with the show being aired on the 26th.
Yeah.
So we're, I think we're at the end of that season. So hopefully we've got some listeners and people have learnt that. But I think it's just adding the podcast portfolio. You don't know what the future lies. It could turn into a podcast at our own podcast network. And collaborating and showcasing South Australia and Adelaide and who we've got in it.
It's fantastic. I can't wait to see what you do next.
We're very excited. We want to just share those stories, connect with people, show what we're doing, and start like creating those connections and showing people that this is a way how we can leverage their business and support them as well. Yeah.
So our tagline is connecting people through powerful conversations. And I think the podcast and the storytelling and the videoing of the podcast is unique. And we're really, really grateful to have Rory on board.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll tune in for season 2.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Glass Ceiling. If you've liked what you heard, please subscribe, as we'd love to have you as part of our community. We're grateful to our guests for sharing their inspiring stories and insights with us, and to our sponsors in making this podcast possible. This podcast was brought to you by Wavebreaker. Join us next time as we shatter the glass ceiling, one story at a time.